A man in Hong Kong speaks Cantonese. A woman in Beijing speaks Mandarin. If they talked to each other on the phone, neither would understand a word. But hand them the same newspaper, and they'd read it exactly the same way. Now picture Europe. A man in Lisbon speaks Portuguese. A woman in Bucharest speaks Romanian. Both languages came from the same root, Latin. Cousins, really. But hand them the same road sign, and neither can read it. So here's the puzzle: why does China, a country with more spoken language diversity than most people realize, read with one script, while Europe, whose languages share a common ancestor, can't read each other's signs at all? Most people assume the answer is simple. China is one country, one culture, one language. Europe is many countries, so many languages. Clean. Tidy. Also wrong. Here's what almost nobody outside China realizes: China has 7 to 10 major spoken language groups. Mandarin, Cantonese, Wu, Min Hakka, Gan, Siam. Not dialects, in the way English has a Boston accent and a Texas accent. These are mutually unintelligible, the same way Portuguese and Romanian are. So spoken China looks a lot more like spoken Europe than you'd think. It's, why did wildly different spoken languages end up sharing one written system, while Europe's closely related languages didn't? The answer starts with how writing works, not politics, not culture. Mechanics. An alphabet is a machine for recording sound. Each letter is a piece of pronunciation. Change the pronunciation, and eventually you have to change the spelling. That's exactly what happened to Latin. As vulgar Latin drifted apart in sound, in Iberia, in Gaul, in Dacia, the writing drifted with it. Because the writing's whole job was to capture sound. Chinese characters do something different. Each character is a machine for recording meaning, not sound. The character for mountain means mountain whether you say it Shan in Mandarin or San in Cantonese. The pronunciation can drift wildly. The meaning symbol doesn't have to move at all. That's the mechanism. But a mechanism alone doesn't explain why it actually stayed that way for 2,000 years. For that, you need politics. Rewind to 221 BCE. China had just come out of the Warring States period. Centuries of rival kingdoms, each with its own version of the script. A character in the state of Qi didn't always look like the same character in the state of Chu. Written China, at that point, was genuinely fragmenting, like Europe would later. Then the state of Qin conquered everyone else. And the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, made a decision that mattered more than any battle. One script. Empire-wide. Mandatory. Every official document, every stele, every tax record, same characters, everywhere, regardless of what the local official actually said out loud. Now compare that to Rome. Rome unified Europe too, for a while, under Latin. But when Rome fell in the 5th century, nothing replaced it. No single dynasty reconquered Europe and reimposed one script. The Franks, the Goths, the Anglo-Saxons, dozens of successor kingdoms, permanently. China got reunified, over and over, by dynasty after dynasty, each one reimposing the same written standard. Europe never got reunified at all. One political event. 2 completely different trajectories, still visible on a map, 1,500 years later. A single decision doesn't last 2,000 years by accident. Both civilizations built reinforcement machines, they just built opposite ones. China built the Imperial examination system. For over 1,000 years, if you wanted power, status, a government post, you had to master classical written Chinese. Not your local speech. The written standard. Every ambitious family, in every province, speaking every different language, funneled its sons toward the same written system. Europe built something that pulled the opposite direction, the printing press. Once Gutenberg made books cheap, printers didn't print in Latin for the masses. They printed in local vernacular, German, French, English, because that's what sold, and that's what the new nation-states wanted. Then came nationalism in the 1700s and 1800s. Language became identity. Standard French versus Standard German wasn't just linguistics, it was nation building. China had 1,000 years of incentive to converge on one script. Europe had a few hundred years of incentive to diverge into many. Same starting ingredients, political fragmentation is possible in both. Opposite machines. Opposite outcomes. Here's why this isn't just a history trivia question. Every system you build, a company, a team, an alliance, faces the same choice, whether you realize it or not. Do you unify people around how they communicate, or around what they mean? Europe optimized for the first. Precise, sound-based, locally rooted, but it fragments the moment groups drift apart. China optimized for the second. Loose on pronunciation, tight on meaning, and that's exactly why it scaled across a continent-sized, dialect-fractured population for 2,000 years. Think about your own team, your own company, even your own family across generations. The groups that stay unified over time usually aren't the ones that force everyone to sound the same. They're the ones that agree, deeply, on what things mean, and let the surface, the accent, the style, the local flavor, take care of itself. So the next time someone tells you China is one language, you'll know the real story is stranger, and more interesting, than that. It was never about one language. It was about one civilization making a 2,000-year bet that meaning could hold people together, even when sound couldn't. I'm Albert, and this is Decoding China,